In Nebraska, your gun can be confiscated for several different reasons. Maybe police seized it after an arrest, maybe it was taken because of a domestic violence investigation, or maybe it was held as evidence after a traffic stop gone wrong. No matter how it happens, the process of getting your firearm back can feel like a maze. Today on The Right Slant, I'm going to walk you step by step through exactly how Nebraska law handles gun confiscation and what you must do to legally get your firearm returned. In Nebraska, firearm confiscation typically happens under 5 major circumstances: arrests involving weapons charges, even if the charge is later dismissed; domestic violence investigations, especially under Nebraska Revised Statute 28 to 1206 and 42 to 924; protection orders, if a judge believes a firearm could pose a threat; firearms taken as evidence in any criminal case; possession by prohibited persons, such as felons or individuals adjudicated mentally incompetent. Nebraska doesn't have a red flag law like some states, but firearms can still be taken during protection order proceedings that function similarly. Here's the short version. In Nebraska, to get your confiscated gun back, your case must be resolved. You must not be prohibited from owning firearms. You must file a formal request with the agency holding the gun. If they deny you, you can petition the district court for return. Now let's break that down step by step. Nebraska Revised Statute 29 to 820 governs seized property, including firearms. Under this law, police must keep seized firearms until the criminal case is fully concluded. If the owner is legally allowed to possess firearms, the gun must be returned, unless it is contraband or was used in a felony. If a firearm is unclaimed after 1 year, law enforcement can dispose of it, typically by auction or destruction. This makes the clock very important. You don't want your firearm to fall into the unclaimed category. Whether it was an arrest, a traffic investigation, or a domestic incident, the gun won't be released until the case is closed, dismissed, acquitted, or completed. Nebraska agencies run a background check before returning your firearm. Any prohibited person status, even temporary, will block the return. In most counties, this is the sheriff's office or the local police department. The request must include your full legal name, the case number, description of the firearm, proof of ownership. If you don't provide documentation, they don't release the gun. Under Nebraska law, the courts can order the agency to return your gun if the case is resolved, you're legally allowed to own a firearm, the property isn't contraband. This petition is often labeled Motion for Return of Property. Most attorneys can file one quickly. If this is helping you understand Nebraska's firearm laws, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video from The Right Slant. In State v. McGuire, the defendant sought the return of firearms seized during an assault investigation. The Nebraska Supreme Court held that the guns must be returned after the charges were dismissed unless the state proves the firearms are contraband or the owner is prohibited from possessing them. This case reinforces that Nebraska does not allow law enforcement to hold your gun indefinitely once you're legally entitled to possess it. In State v. Rem, police seized a firearm during a domestic disturbance call. Even though the gun was not used illegally, the state refused to return the firearm. The Court of Appeals ruled that because Rem was not a prohibited person, the firearm had to be returned. The court emphasized that Nebraska law requires firearms to be returned when their evidentiary value is over and the owner is legal. In Nebraska, if a domestic abuse protection order or harassment protection order is issued, a judge can require the respondent to surrender firearms. This authority comes from Nebraska Reverend Stat 42 to 924. To get your gun back, the protection order must end, expire, or be dismissed. You must file a request with a law enforcement agency. You must pass a background check verifying you're legally allowed to possess firearms. Many Nebraskans don't realize you can get your firearm back after a protection order as long as you're not federally prohibited. Under Nebraska statute, any unclaimed firearm may be auctioned or destroyed after 1 year, but the agency must make a reasonable effort to notify the owner. If you moved, changed phone numbers, or didn't update contact information, you could lose your firearm permanently without realizing the deadline was close. In Nebraska, the law is actually very clear. If you're legally allowed to have a firearm and it's not contraband, you can get it back. The key is knowing the process, meeting the deadlines, and understanding your rights under Nebraska statutes and case law. For more state by state gun rights breakdowns, make sure you subscribe to The Right Slant. I'll see you in the next video.